Currently are watching video E4.p2-23, which is how do the scientists forecast the weather. Okay, the procedure steps with this are going to basically cover the learning target as you see here. Interpreting weather maps, and by interpreting them, being able to describe the actual present weather conditions that are taking place, and then also predicting changes in the weather over the course of a 24-hour period. So what this activity is going to do is it's going to talk about how scientists actually do forecast the weather, what they use, and then the next step would be the predicting changes in the weather over the course of a certain time period. And in most of the cases, the scenarios that you're going to be dealing with are going to be over a 24-hour period, and some may be more than 24 hours, but just in general, just over a short time period nonetheless. Okay, when you're done watching this introductory video, the first thing that you'll jump into is you're going to jump into reading the background information, which is found on page 1. The background information is on the very first page. You can see it right here in your screen. And there's actually a lot of information in here talking about weather fronts, talking about the speed in which the fronts move, and the different types of things that take place as these types of fronts actually travel into a particular area and what they do to the atmospheric pressure. All right. So once you've done the background information, there are going to be some pre-lab questions that you will see right here. Pre-lab questions, and then you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what these are going to do is they're going to talk about, again, the things that are listed in the background information regarding what happens when certain types of fronts travel in, the speed in which they're moving, and the types of weather conditions that you can expect to see take place. And again, although it's a very short piece of information, it does cover quite a bit. So pay close attention as you are reading through that and then answering the pre-lab questions. Once you're done with the pre-lab questions, you're going to then read and look through pages 1 through 4 carefully. And the reason why I put carefully is because there's a lot of important information that's found on each of these pages, along with the activity that you're going to be doing, because they're going to be asking you to draw maps, they're going to be asking you to color on maps, and to basically show what's taking place on the maps. And that's why the lab materials that you're going to need for this activity are colored pencils, markers, and or crayons. You can choose whichever type you would prefer, but nonetheless, having things, variety of colors will be very important, especially for showing the different types of weather fronts. Red for warm, blue for cold, purple for occluded, and then for stationary, both a combination of red and blue. Okay, so when you're done with page 1, as you'll see right here, you'll come across your very first thing, and it says examine the map on figure 31-1. Figure 31-1 is located over here. This entire diagram on page 2 is the entire figure, as it says, figure 31-1, weather map showing a progression of fronts. Again, progression meaning the movement as they continue to travel. So your first activity is simply going to interpret a weather map to look at the different types of symbols. And again, you're going to draw the symbols for each of the following on the map. Color is important as well. Even though this is in black and white, you should be aware of the different types of colors that are used for weather fronts more particularly. Once you've completed that, that'll lead you into page 3. Page 3, it says study the maps on figure 31-1, so the ones that we just went over right here. While studying them, while looking them over, what you're going to do is you're going to answer the questions that you see in this space below. Question 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then number 12. So there's quite a few questions, and again, just read them very carefully and make sure that you're answering them given the information that you see from the figure, which is found on page 2, figure 31-1. Once you've done that, you're going to then move on to note the temperatures on figure 31-2. Figure 31-2 is on page 4, bigger map right here. Each of these numbers that you see on this map are the current temperatures throughout the United States at the given time that this map was actually taken. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the same symbols on the map as you used for figure 31-1, and you're going to indicate, that means draw on that map, where the cold front is located, and then also use arrows to indicate the direction in which it's moving. Second, you're going to draw a warm front. You're going to use arrows again to indicate the direction in which it's moving, where it's headed to. You're going to draw in where you would find high pressure, so using the high pressure symbol, and then areas that you find low pressure. And there could be more than one type of cold front. There could be more than one type of warm front. There could be more than one high pressure symbol, more than one low pressure symbol. So again, you'll have to take a look at, as you're configuring and drawing out the different types of cold fronts and warm fronts, that are taking place on this map that you see currently in front of you. That's again where you start to put in your high and low pressure once you have put in your fronts. Once you've done that, then 2 challenge questions. We're going to talk about predicting what's going to happen in the next 24 hours for Casper, Wyoming, and then again for Dallas, Texas. If you don't know where Casper, Wyoming is, you'll see it right here. If you don't know where Dallas, it's down here on this map. And then the next question is, we're going to talk about Omaha, Nebraska, from Spokane, Washington. And what's going to happen is that they're going to give you the distance that it is from one to the next, 2,189 kilometers. And they're going to give you the scenario, talking about how fast the actual warm front is traveling. The question that we're posing is, how long does it take for that warm front to actually reach Omaha? AKA, how many hours does it take for it to move from Spokane all the way down to Omaha? So, a little bit of a challenge question, a math problem for you. But nonetheless, if you have questions, do not hesitate to come find Fuzak or myself. What I do want to note on figure 31-2 right here is that this area down here, they have put just one object in their table. And that table represents snow. So just as a reminder, showing you where the snow is actually falling in this map and in this diagram. And then you have 3 questions for the conclusion, as you can see here. Again, you're going to be asked more general questions regarding weather types, weather fronts, weather systems, weather symbols, those sorts of things as to what takes place with those things. So again, you can use the information that you have gathered as you've been reading through and doing this activity, or you could go back to your notes dealing with cold fronts, warm fronts, stationary, occluded, based on the type of question that you're going to be asked in the conclusion section here. Alright, so that takes us through this video. If you have questions, do not hesitate. Come find myself or Mr. Fuzak.